Welcome, I'm Mary Record and I teach health education at Scarborough High School. I'm glad you decided to come to my open house. I know it will be different this year than in years past, but we'll try to do our best. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I will put my email here below. And here we go. So welcome to health education. I'm just going to go over a few of the main points of our class. The key concept in how I teach this class is that it is a lifetime class. Health education in high school is a required class for graduation. That's a state DOE requirement. This is their one chance in 4 years, their one semester to earn their health education requirement. For the majority of our students, this will be their last ever health education course. Most don't go on to take another class in college. It would be great if they did, but most don't. So I see this as some information would be great to know today. Some information would have been great to have known maybe a year ago, and some information may not be necessarily relevant for another few years. But unfortunately, this is the only time we have to learn it together. So I'd rather them learn it now from a real live educated human being than some random person on the internet. So when they're in here, respect and trust is our foundation of everything that happens here. I have a list of discussion norms that we go over, such as confidentiality, no judgment, no side conversations, proper terminology, and saying, I know someone who, rather than my boyfriend and I last night or whatever. When we're in class or even in online class, we are prepared, we're ready to go, our laptops are on, our cell phones are away, and we're ready to learn. I usually have students take notes, pen and paper. We don't have a textbook. They are actually going to create their own as we go. I have guided notes for them to fill out. Whether students are remote or in class, I have paper copies ready to go for them. And they will follow along. It makes it a lot more streamlined and easier for them to focus and participate when they don't have to copy every single thing down. I want them to engage and discuss and make the learning meaningful. I don't believe in memorization. I want them to get the most out of learning and really apply it to their daily life, because that's when the actual learning happens, when they're actually taking what they learn in class and making it authentic in their real life and meaningful and doing the learning that's happening. Every once in a while, we will have assessments in class or at home. These will be announced. There will always be a study guide, and there will always be time to review ahead of time. There will never be a surprise. New this year is a concrete list of expectations for students when they are remote as well as when they are in class, if they do come to class. So when students are remote, hopefully there is a place in the home where if it's not completely quiet, at least it can limit distractions, whether that's siblings or cell phones or other loud noises, but some place where they can go and they know, like in the classroom, we know it's for learning, but there's a space in their home, maybe a little corner of a room, that is their place for learning before class starts. So we are in synchronous learning. There's a scheduled time for every class. So a few minutes before class starts for every class, they are online, logged into Google Classroom and the Google Meet links before class starts. And on the next slide, I'll show you what the Google Meet link looks like. Their videos are on, but muted. I call it proof of life. I want to know that there is a living, breathing human teenager that's enrolled in my class that is the person on the other line of that computer. And unfortunately, if I can't see them, I don't know it is actually them. So that's what I mean by proof of life. I don't need to necessarily hear them, but I do need to see their actual live face for that day to know that they are there for attendance purposes. They don't have to keep the camera on the entire 75 minutes we're in class, but I do need to see them at different points throughout the class. Stay muted unless speaking. Raise your hand either on the camera or using the hand raise emoji to ask a question. If you do speak, just say, like, this is Mary with a question. just to make clear, because voices are really hard to identify. You don't have to use your last name. You can just use your first name. And if technology fails, just email me as soon as possible and keep checking Google Classroom because everything will be posted there for that day's work. And do both, email me and check Google Classroom. Just because sometimes there is a fluke that happens, but I don't want you to get too far behind, or I don't want the student to get too far behind. When you're in class, when students are in class, we do have a 4-minute kill time for a dwell time rather, for the antiviral cleaner to work on the desks. So when you get in, the desks may still be wet. So I want you to remain standing to make sure there's enough time for the antiviral cleaner to do its job. And I will let you know when it's time to sit down. I hope we all can remember to be patient and flexible as we're all doing our best to transition to this new world that we live in. When we're in class, we really have to limit side conversations to non-existent, especially for the microphone, since we are broadcasting live every single class. When we do speak, I want you to speak loudly and clearly so everyone can hear you, so everyone can benefit from the learning. And headphones will now be needed, so if you go ahead and watch a video or do something, that noise won't distract other learners. Our curriculum always is in the same 3 parts. We always start very inward with mental health and the teen brain, very basic intro to health things. Then we transition around mid-October to physical health, or if you're hearing this in the spring semester, it'll be around mid-end of February to physical health. We'll talk about nutrition, and then physical health also includes substance abuse and prevention and addiction. And then we end our semester with social health. This includes communication, relationships of all kind, consent, sexual assault prevention, and all sexual reproduction, including STIs and their prevention. Okay, Google Classroom, this will be our lifeblood this year. This is where we have everything we need. I will show you what it looks like here. Every class has their own Google Classroom. I'm just going to show 3-4 red family because we're here. So whether you're cohort A or cohort B, it's going to be exactly the same class because we're all in the same class together. So here's our class code. I emailed these out before school started, so every student should be logged in at this point. And parents are automatically invited. Here is the Meet link. This Meet link will not change throughout the semester. So every day the student has class, that is the link to go to. The stream automatically opens up on laptops. You can see I posted 2 things already. But if you click on the classwork tab, that's where you can see I will have all topics. I just have 2 now because it's so early in the semester. But this is where we will have everything, all the materials that I have posted already. So for example, I've posted the syllabus, the hybrid distance learning expectations, which I just did. And then I also posted my handwritten bell schedule because it did change a little bit, if that's helpful to anybody. So there'll be a lot of interesting links. I can briefly take you through last semester's classwork just to show you. So we have mental health, illness, nutrition, as you can read here, but all the topics are nice and organized by content for what we do. So that's our Google Classroom. Again, if you have any questions on any of this, please feel free to email me with any questions. Our grading policies are pretty clear. The summative assessments will count the most. It's about 60% of students' grades. Again, those will all be announced. There will be study guides. We will review. I am a firm believer in tell them what you test them and test them what you tell them and teach them what you want them to know. Everything we know in this class, the beauty of teaching health education is every single thing is relevant to their everyday life. I like to joke that this is the Friday night class. Everything we use will be relevant to every day of the week, especially on the weekends, especially hanging out with friends and partners and all those good times will be this class. So these tests should be very relevant, real life, matter of fact, common sense, hopefully. Formative assessments, those are the check-ins we'll do during class, and classwork, we will have some of those will be 10%. And then finally, the ultimate goals of our class is I want them to be able to know what I do to my body matters, what I put in, what I take in, who I care about, who I interact with matters in terms of health and disease and reduction and prevention. How do I know when I need help? Where can I go to access help? How can I help others? With the ultimate goal of being able to achieve and maintain both or all three mental, physical, and social health in our lives. And again, any comments or questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to be of help at any time. And if you wanted any bit about my background, there it is. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was great to meet you all virtually. And again, reach out if you need anything. Take care.